Hello everyone and welcome back to our home renovation series. Today I'm finally bringing you part 2 of our dining area renovation, so by the end of this video you'll see our finished space. So picking up from where we left off in part 1, which was all the structural work, the plastering and the painting, we're now moving on to adding in all the soft furnishings and our furniture. When looking for a rug for this area, we thought it would be the most practical option to have something with a print or a pattern. In case of any food mishaps, the print will then disguise any staining, in theory. So we went for this dark and neutral vintage inspired area rug, which has a deliberately faded design, so it's quite a subtle print, but it still fits in with the rest of our interior decor. We do love our plants, and we only have real plants in the house, and one of our favourite indoor plants is a rubber tree. We've actually got 4 of these on the ground floor level, and I did a DIY on a basic terracotta pot to transform it to what you see here. So that process can be seen in a reel over on the home account on Instagram. Now in goes the dining table. We had this made to order from a company called Cozy Wood. You can choose from several different table designs and have the exact measurements that you want for your space, and you can choose the wood it's made from. After getting the wood samples, we opted for the 10-seater Millennium table with a live edge in our own custom measurements, and we went for natural ash wood. Onto the window dressings. We have 2 windows in this space which let in floods of light, so we wanted sheer blinds on each, and these are the samples I have here from Blinds to Go. We've been shopping with Blinds to Go for years. All our blinds in our previous home were from there and we love them, so we have stuck with them for this renovation too. We also chose to have some curtains in this area to make it feel more cosy and to fill some of the blank wall space. So here we're just marking and measuring where the curtain pole will go before drilling the holes for the new fixtures. As with all other hardware in the house, we've gone for matte black so that it all ties in. I bought some linen curtains from H&M Home, so here I'm just attaching the curtain hooks so that I can see how they look hung, and also so that I can see which blind samples look best when they're sat next to the linen fabric. Now, this was an exciting day when our chosen chairs arrived, because admittedly I was finding it really tricky to find the right chairs, because I wanted something in wood and was looking for that perfect balance between rustic countryside and mid-century. And then I found these Rebecca chairs at Perch and Parrow, and they ticked every single box. The wood is so beautiful and complements the table, and they look and feel absolutely incredible in quality. They've got that slight rustic vibe to them, but then the shape of the back is very mid-century. Now, remember the door that leads into the new utility room, previously a garage? Well, it's time to give that door the DIY makeover that I've been speaking about for the last few months. As the door is a glass panelled door, I'm going to be adding some reeded film to those glass panels so that it still lets in all the natural light into both rooms, either side of the door, but hides or distorts that view of the currently unfinished utility from the dining area and lounge. I've used this film from Surface Designs before, as you might have seen over on Instagram, and it's really easy to install. First, you need to measure the area where you're adding the film so that you know how much to cut. Then you need to clean the glass where you'll be applying the film. I always clean both sides so that you've got a nice clean piece of glass to work with, and then you can see any bubbles once the film goes on. Now I'm measuring the film using the measurements I took from each glass panel on the door. I'm marking 3 dots along the film with a whiteboard pen and then lining them up with a spirit level, which is also going to be acting as my ruler when cutting the film with a sharp Stanley knife. Here I'm adding a couple of pumps of washing up liquid to my spray bottle, which comes as part of the installation tool pack, which is also available from Surface Designs, then filling it up with water. This solution is going to be used to adhere the film to the glass. Now I have my cut pieces of film. I attach 2 pieces of tape, one to either side, to help me peel off the backing plastic. Once that's removed, you then need to spray your film with the soapy solution, and it can get a bit messy, so it's useful to have a couple of cloths to hand so you can mop up behind you. And you also need to spray the solution directly onto the glass as well. Then you simply slide the film into place and use a squeegee to smooth down the film and remove any excess water and air bubbles. I always have some tissue to hand to absorb the excess solution after applying each piece of film. On doors like this, you don't want water to seep into the gaps, as it could cause warping and damage the door. And here you can see the difference after adding one panel of the reeded film. So then I moved on to the other 3 panels to complete the door. Here we're just figuring out the placement for where the canvas should go before drilling the holes for the fixtures to go in. We're adding some twine to the back of the canvas so that it hangs more like a piece of actual artwork rather than just a canvas. It also gives a bit more flexibility in terms of levelling, as you can slide the canvas along the wall fixtures with that string on the back. Our chosen made-to-measure blinds arrived 3 weeks after we ordered them, so we're taking down the temporary cafe rods and voile panels so that we can install them. This is the first time that we're trying the click-to-go blinds, which don't require any screws at all, as the name would suggest. They literally click into place in a similar way to a tension rod. You position the rail where you want the blind to go and simply push in the lever until it clicks into place. The head rail, which holds the blind mechanism and all the fabric, then clicks into place onto that rail, and as we opted for sheer Roman blinds, the top of the fabric attaches with Velcro to conceal the rail and head rail, giving a nice, soft and clean finish. Now, going back to the curtains, which are a tad too long, so I'm taking the hems up so that they don't bunch all on the floor in a crumpled mess. So, whilst they're hung, I'm just pinning the hem to where I would like the length to fall. Then I remove the curtain so that I can measure out the hem a little bit more precisely with a tape measure and evening it out the whole way along. And then I'm going to add a few more pins just to keep that in place. Now, I usually hang my curtain back up once it's just been pinned so that I can double check the length. And then from here you can assess if it's in the right place and make any adjustments if needed. As our curtains are very lightweight linen, I'm adding in some lead weighting cord to the hems so that it pulls them down and they just hang a little nicer. Now, I am pretty nifty with a sewing machine, and I was hoping to show you that, but unfortunately I didn't have the right colour thread for these curtains. So I have cheated somewhat, and I have used some iron-on hem tape as a temporary measure until I can find the right colour thread so that I can sew these hems properly. Once all the curtains were adjusted to the right length, I then hung them back on their rings on the curtain poles. When it's just the two of us, we usually eat in the kitchen or the TV area whilst we're watching TV, but we are quite sociable people now, so I thought I'd set up the table to show you how it looks when we're hosting our friends and family. Now, I don't like to go too fancy with table settings. I love linen and natural fibres and natural textures, which all sit nicely with our neutral interior style. So, as a base, I have some linen placemats, which have a raw edge, which make it feel less polished. On top, I'm adding some circular seagrass placemats, so that has a little bit more of a layered look. I'm a big fan of dried flowers, so here I have some bunny tails, which will sit at the end in a glass vase. I bought our dinnerware about a month before we moved into this house, so that was back in August 2021, and I always had the vision of having a nice big dining table so that we could have lots of friends and family around for get-togethers. So at this point, it's just nice to finally have this space finished so that we can do that. Here, adding the cutlery, which has a wood effect handle, completely dishwasher safe for practicality. So again, it's another natural and neutral sort of texture, which just complements the rest of the setup. And then our glassware. We've actually had these glasses for about 8 years now. We only have 6, so unfortunately we don't have enough for 10 people, so I'm thinking that it might be time to finally replace these with a new full set. And there we are, guys. This is our finished dining space. I say finished, we are still deciding if we want anything in that window alcove, maybe a nice chair or something. But as it is, this room is ready for entertaining, and we're looking forward to making lots of memories here with friends and family. We are so happy that we knocked down that wall. If you haven't seen part 1 of this renovation, I'll leave a link down below in the description box so that you can see how the room looked originally. But it's definitely been one of the best decisions that we've made so far. The space feels open and light. Whilst we have kept it relatively minimal to suit our personal style, it still feels nice and homely. Well, thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed seeing how we transformed this space. The next project on the list is Through the Reeded Door, so stay tuned for that utility renovation part 2 coming soon.